It's a thriller, it's a psychological drama, it has the horror elements, because the problem with the exorcism movie is that it's so narrow a genre. You kind of come to see set pieces, and the movie owes you those set pieces. So you have to do the set pieces, you have to do the elevating, the flotation and the head spin, all that kind of stuff, get as close as possible. But you always try to find your own spin on it so that the audience that has seen 25 other exorcism movies gets something fresh out of it. And the people that see it for the first time, it's the first exorcism movie, you still want to deliver all those set pieces. So that was always in our minds. And then I'm always thinking, how would this movie be interesting if there were no supernatural elements in it? If there was no horror at all? Would I still be interested in watching this movie, in making this movie? Are the characters interesting enough, that they have problems and a journey that is not just the supernatural phenomenon that they're being faced with, but there's something internal, so that was really important with this movie too, to send this character on a journey that comes with a lot of backstory. We wanted her to be a strong female character, but the balance was that you had to feel her fear, because otherwise there's nothing at stake. If she goes in there and goes like, demon, I don't care, boom, strong female character here, then you don't care, then you're not afraid, On the other hand, you didn't want the kind of afraid female character. So you had to kind of see her have the fear that the situation deserved, but deal with it in a way that you can admire. And out of that desperation and out of that the determination to find out what the deal is with this demon. Of course, the ancient church says women cannot be exorcists, but if we had had a whole classroom full of antagonistic priests, it would have been a caricature. You would find people in there that are sympathetic to her cause, or that think that it's cool that a girl is kind of stepping in there. And to give Father Dante that part was kind of a natural thing. If they want to be friends, then he should be in awe of her and be supportive. But again, the balance was that we did not want him to be so strong a sidekick that in the end it was, the female character needs the strong male presence to help her out. So it was a very interesting balance that we couldn't make Father Dante strong enough that he takes the spotlight away from her, strong enough as in what he can do, what his abilities are, what his ideas are, all that kind of stuff. One of these aspects that I really like was Dr. Peters, who is an atheist, probably, or an agnostic, and a scientist, and it just gave the church a much more modern touch. It's not a church that needs to deny science, but it's a church that is fighting this battle, has been fighting this battle against the demonic forces, and they need all the help they can get. So they almost want someone there to bounce ideas off of, to say no to them, to contradict them, because they are not in their own bubble, or they're trying not to be in their own bubble. They are trying to fight the demons with all that they have. And science is one of those things. And that's kind of a balance that we're trying to strike in the movie, that you feel this eternal battle, the ancientness of it all, but you also feel the modern scientific approach. I think what's so rich about Anne and Father Quinn is that they are kind of set up on different sides, right? Anne wants to be the first female to go in there, and Quinn, who still has to walk the party line of women are not supposed to do this, so he can't openly revolt, but he feels very connected to Anne and wants to help her as much as possible. So what was interesting about that relationship was that you still needed to feel enough that Anne is kind of breaking through the glass ceiling, so there's enough antagonism from the church. On the other hand, our main figurehead for the church was Father Quinn, whose whole thing is that he is very sympathetic to Anne. So that was kind of an interesting thing to juggle. And I loved the scenes where they have conflicts and Father Quinn has to walk the party line, because it gives Colin so much to play and to act. And Jackie and Colin were just such good friends that was a chemistry that was just there from the very beginning. They said, look at this actress, we'd love it if you loved her. So me thinking like, I'll find my own actress. I haven't even seen it, I already don't like her, And I pressed play on the tape, and it was incredible. Like, I held my breath the entire time because she did such an amazing performance that I was like, we'd be crazy not to go with her. Like, this is such a find to have someone who has that ability without being a familiar face. Like, where was this girl my entire life, kind of a thing. That's what it felt like. So we never looked for anyone else, and I never regretted that choice for a second. And then I got on Zoom with her, and she was so smart and asked, again, all the right questions, you always know that someone is a great actor if they ask you the questions you don't have answers for. Or you go like, oh, I better do my homework and I better find those answers. But at the same time, she gave me more answers about the role than, she was just really great and the best person to work with ever. Posey was suggested by her drama teacher, definitely by a teacher. I don't know if it was the drama teacher, and came in, and it was uncanny because you had the feeling that this girl is pulling emotions out of a place that shouldn't even exist in a 10-year-old. I don't know how she did it. And if you asked Posey, she would not be able to tell you how she did it, even though she's the smartest 10-year-old that you'll ever meet. But my experience was always the same, that we do the first take and it's as far away as it could possibly be, and you go like, oh, we'll never get there. This god will take 28 takes. And then she does a second take and she nails it. And what she had was like this crazy authenticity that none of the other girls had. There were other girls that were maybe scarier because they could do like one scary look where you go like, oh, that is scary. But Posey gave us a whole world of emotional inner life, which was so important for Sister Anne to kind of bond with. So in the end, we were like, okay, we'll rather work on the scary stuff, but we have the emotional authenticity that we need for that character. For the Natalie that is not possessed, Posey just brings that.